ELI5 I'm having hard time getting my head around the fact that there is no end to space. Is there really no end to space at all? How do we know there isn't an end to space? Because as you approach what could be the end, space is expanding faster in front of you than you could possibly go. Also, time is slowing down for you the faster you go. You should have a hard time getting your head around facts like this, and that is supposed to make you question how good you are at getting your head around things, rather than questioning the things themselves, which are physical indirectly but empirically proven facts that do not care whether you are comfortable with them or not. What bothers me is that while the universe is infinite, there are finite values associated with the Big Bang. Don't like that one bit. In the end though, there is only two choices, either there is nothing, or there is everything. Both cannot exist simultaneously. Without light, there is no darkness. Because stuff exists, there can't be a place within this dimension where things do not exist. Nobody knows for sure though. You could say that inside of an event horizon is technically an edge to space due to all the warpage. There is no edge of space to come to. It goes on always. Big Bang did not happen way over there someplace in a container that held it out of primordial space. All of space and everywhere is where the Big Bang happened. Right where you are is a part of all the space that ever was and ever will be. There is not new space. It's the same space. There is no container. There are no edges to come to. And in beginning are constructs of consciousness. Space is limited. What science believes what space is today is one that can be been in is inside the observable universe, all the other parts till where the light has traveled from our observable universe. Now I believe you are asking what is outside the scope is endless. Frankly we don't know. And probably will never know. And that should be the thought that should make you sad and sleepless. Bro, I'm with you. I've had this mental conversation with myself for 30 years. Like, where does it end? And if it doesn't end, then how? And if it does end, what's stopping it? I realize that my brain is not capable of understanding these things, but who is? Nobody. The thought of space being infinite really fucking weirds me out. Strictly because my simple human brain can't comprehend infinite. I have yet to read a reasonable response. Every expert giving opinions is being too scientific in their thought process. If we travel in any direction in space, is there an edge where we essentially hit a wall? Don't take light years into account or expansion etc. Would love to hear an answer. Unfortunately the best answer is likely will forever be we don't know. Not only is there no end to space, but there is no end to all of physical possibilities inside of that infinitely large space. In other words, there absolutely are billions, in every form you can think of. There are even an infinite number of identical Earths that are just slightly different, with an infinite number of views that are just a little bit different too. Here's another concept for you. There's so much space inside of space that on a scale of an atom to us, we could fit the entire Earth right in front of us and not even be able to see it. In any single instance of space, we have quantum mechanics and classical physics. There's so much space within this space, that it follows two different sets of physical laws. There are going to be ideas we will never be able to perceive, just like there are colors, sounds, and smells we can't perceive. We are limited by our perception. Infinity is one of those things. Our way of understanding measuring things requires a starting ending point. If you say there's no beginning and we have no way to understand measure it. My theory is that at the edges of space and as we near the edge of space time is so crunched that it reaches an infinitesimal zero, and it's not that the universe is expanding at the speed of x, it's that time is non-existent beyond the universe itself. There is nowhere to expand to, there is no outside. Space is expanding, growing faster than we can observe it. It's like you're in a car trying to catch up to an airplane that's taking off. At first you're close and think you can overtake it, but once it's airborne it's gone and imperceptible by your terrestrial allocation. Well also, people are speaking about space expanding always, but then you ask what if you go outside the expansion? What would there be there? But the answer is you could not go outside the bubble since space would just expand with you. A better question is why would there be? It's harder for me to imagine an end to space than it is to imagine it being infinite. Even if it reaches a point there is nothing really there. What would cause there to be a barrier? Yeah, like they say space is expanding. What is it expanding into? Does it just make itself exist as it goes? ETA I love watching this time lapse of the future, a journey to the end of time. We don't know if space has a boundary. What we know about space is deduced from light which reaches our planet, which put an absolute limit on the sphere of discoveries we can make with current technology. I'll do you one better. Not only is there a universe infinite, but scale-wise it is too. There is no smallest difference and no largest size. You will likely find structure at every single scale. Makes you wonder, have aliens and their technologically advanced spacecrafts reached the edge of space? Or even their advanced technology is not sophisticated enough to do that? How could there be an end? Imagine space as a sphere. What is on the outside of the sphere? More space. What is impossible to conceptualize is that space could end somewhere. I wouldn't worry yourself with this. It's a question that won't have an answer in your lifetime, and possibly will never have an answer for the entirety of human existence. Nope. I think it's exactly like the end of MIB. We are all just universes contained in a small marble being played by a giant alien. I need to stop smoking so much weed. There can't be an end, because there is no beginning. Paradoxes make my brain hurt, and usually sound like the wise, elderly school janitor in a spoof of 80s movies. Physics is as much about what you can't prove as it is about what you can prove. We have no proof that space ends, so we assume it continues until we find the end. The amount of things humans don't know, vastly outweigh what we think we know, and what we actually know is a small fraction of what we think we know. I think anyone will tell you that the money that we don't really know. Maybe there is a wall. It sounds stupid as ass shit, but we just don't know. We don't know. And I actually prefer the endless space theory, because if it isn't, there automatically comes the question, what lies beyond? There is an end to space, hence the well-founded scientific notion of an ever-expanding universe. It is finite. Always growing, but finite. It's basically that the speed of dark is faster than the speed of light. It truly is infinite form and formlessness in one package. The thing is, we will never know because of the unimaginable out there, and everything we think we know will be wrong 180 degrees. Functionally unimportant. Bigger than you could ever hope to imagine. Wildly big. Brain does not compute. Too much info. The end of space is at the end of time. Space exists with time. When? From the beginning. When? Till the end of time. You have to think about exploring space as traveling up and down in scale rather than back and forth in direction. I like to think our universe is in a bubble and outside of it is just more bubbles with galaxies whatnot. This exact thought is actually one of my biggest fears, haha. This and how long forever really is. If you wanna fuck your head up even more, space is expanding further than the speed of light. Isn't it crazier if the universe had some sort of edge? What would that look like? It would be weirder if there was just a finite amount of space. Like what? Try this one. How did existence come into existence?